sense of, bringing a particular issue to the group at IMWR or anything like that. But it was to be immersed in some situations of very, very evident, very extreme injustice. I think for all of us there, really changed how deeply we felt about these things. Mm-hmm. They weren't theoretical anymore, but were really, really real, and continue to be really, really real.
Yeah.
And so we were able to see then the ways that issues on our own campus were a part of this whole picture of justice and injustice, privilege and oppression, all around the world, and the ways that we'd be kind of misunderstanding that before having been immersed in this experience.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, IMWR was one of the ways that I gave that outlet when I got back, to say I have to do something. You can't just come back from that and be like, sweet, now I'm going to sit on my bum and watch Netflix, you know, like that. Yeah. That wasn't, we had to do something. So I got involved more deeply with IMWR and did some fundraising projects and got passionate about several other issues and have been involved with those. And I mean, it was pretty life-changing. Yeah. And for me, IMWR was one of the outlets to sort of put into practice what I'd learned.
Okay, awesome. So what kinds of, hot topics or issues were you able to express through IMWR? What was the group's, what did they focus on a lot?
Issue then. We were doing a body show every year. There was a lot of stuff around body image, which I think is kind of universally important, right? Yeah. I don't know that was, particularly important any of those years. I know that we talked a lot about sex. We had a whole bunch of conversations about, sex and virginity and purity and, some of the ways in which those ideas can really hurt people. Mm-hmm. And I think that those really played into the body show that year. I wish I could remember more particularly all of the things.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there for so many years that we did a lot of stuff in the time that I was there. We did the body show, we did a few public workshops, and we did that the building bridges deal. And in some ways we were working to kind of establish a new format for the group with the two separate groups. And that just took a lot of, and there's this constant problem of new people coming in every year, which is delightful, but you have to teach them all of the theory and integrate them into the community, which takes weeks and weeks. And explain, here's what we're about, and here's what we're not about, and deal with community issues. And all of it is so foundational to any kind of justice work that you're doing, any kind of community work anywhere. But that's a lot of what your work ends up being. And you have to do that before you can output anything for the bigger community. So I remember we got, we definitely spent weeks and weeks trying to figure out, split these groups, and how is that going to continue to be fair, and how do we continue to communicate, and It was a whole thing.
So then, what was the structure of the group like at your time? Like you said, there was a workshop group and what was the other group you said?
A workshop group and a performance group.
Okay.
Yeah. And there were the two of us who were kind of leaders among the workshop group, because everybody else was pretty young and didn't have the stuff under their belt yet. But we were still working in kind of a consensus-y way. It's just that a couple of us sort of were the conveners, the people who would send out emails being like, okay, everybody, who's going to sign up for which parts here? Because we got something. And then the performance group was, so we could simultaneously work on two projects for building bridges, and not have to be in each other's way around that. So they were working on these performances while we were doing more kind of interactive stuff with the community. And they had a couple of kind of similar key leaders. And all of that was a response to, it must have been in the fall of 2011, we did sort of a new member workshop, invitational come in. And there were tons of people who were interested. And we were like, so wait. And then whoa, now suddenly we have, 3/4 of our group don't know anything, and we're so big and we're so clumsy that it just doing a check-in at the beginning of the meeting took forever. And so that's when we decided to make the split. which worked and also didn't, in the way that these kinds of things do and don't. But I was really proud of what we were able to accomplish, I think more efficiently because we weren't so behemoth.
Yeah.
As one group.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
about how many people were in it when you were in it?
In the workshop group, oh gosh, let me think. I mean, the size always just hugely vacillates, especially depending on what's going on the main stage theater, and who can be involved in what.
Yeah.
The workshop group was a little bit smaller because it was a little bit less cool sounding to folks if they're thinking about what to sign up for. But we had some really, really neat people going on. I think that there were probably around 10 of us who were pretty regular on that side, and the other group bigger than that. By the time sort of things all settled out. Yeah, geez, I'm sure that I have notes somewhere in my world with all the details, some documents. Sarah Van Vrede, if you're looking for somebody to talk to, she was like the historian, the documentarian, and she was writing everything down and collecting archives, and like she would have a much better.
Yeah, what was her last name again?
Van Vrede. It's 2 words, capital V-A-N, capital V-R-E-E-D-E.
V-R-E-E-D-E.
E-E, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm in touch with her via Facebook, so if you're looking for a way to get in touch, I wouldn't be surprised if Amy's not in touch with her still.
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
She was, she was really involved.
Yeah, I'll bring it up to the group tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, sorry, what were my other questions for you then? So how did the group deal with, like, different political or, like, views and stuff like that at the time?
So here's one thing that happened on campus when I was in IMWare that was really troublesome. So there was a beautiful sunny day out on the mall. There was like a concert set up, and everyone was bringing out their lunches and sitting. And it was a group of musicians that were sort of Christian evangelists, and they were playing great music. And then in between, people would like give their testimonies. And it was all great. It was like, somebody being like, I was living a lifestyle with a lot of drugs and I was really miserable, and then I found Jesus and everything turned around, and like, now I'm really joyful and, singing, and it's good. I'm a Christian. I'm actually in seminary right now. So for me, this was like, cool, yay, good for you.
Yeah.
And then somebody came up and said, I was living a homosexual lifestyle, and then I found Jesus and I got better. And campus exploded! And like within a matter of minutes, there were like rainbow flags planted along all the paths, and there were people standing in front of the stage with duct tape over their mouths, and there was like shouting going on between the stage and the audience. And a lot of IMWR members were involved in sort of resistance to that message. I think rightfully so, that is a message that should be resisted. But I remember there being a whole lengthy discussion in our meeting that week. Like how do we continue to resist the message of shame that's coming from that particular element, and my feeling of conflict of like, yes, let's not like be all shamey shame on our queer friends, but is there a way we can simultaneously do that without hating Christian people? Without it being anger towards an entire religious and faith identity. And I remember a lot of those conversations getting kind of tense, and trying to figure out how can we, resist a negative conversation, resist a negative message, without being a negative message.
Yeah.
In response. And people having really different points of view about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that can always be tough. Okay. Sorry, I'm like trying to like read all my notes.
You're doing great.
Okay, so were you on campus at the time of Obama's either election or re-election? Yes,
I was.
Okay.
The first time around. When there was, racial slurs written on cars. Bad news. Wow. Bad news bears.
Yeah. So what happened with that, and like how did the group respond?
I don't think I was in I Am We Are yet then. He was first elected in 2008. I was a freshman, so I wasn't involved.
Okay.
I'm sure they did something, but I wasn't in it from the inside.
Yeah.
I remember there being a general outroar, outcry around campus, and I'm sure that I Am We Are was one of the leading kind of factors in that. I think that there was some kind of, they put on some sort of a show, or conversation or something.
About the cars or, like, Obama's re-election in general?
I think about kind of hate speech. Broadly. There was a lot of conversation then about what constitutes hate speech, and how do we call it out in the community. So I don't know, I hope that you can find somebody who was involved in the group then in 2008, because it was a big deal on campus then. And I couldn't really speak to the internal workings of IAMWR other than having a vague sense that they probably did something about it.
Yeah.
If I had IAMWR, then we would have done something about it.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. So from what I've been, like, talking to other groups about, because, okay, sorry, but for, like, what I've been talking to other groups about, they've been saying that there was a lot of, like, talk about sexual assault and then censorship with sexual assault at, like, around the time you were on campus. Do you, like, have any memories of that, or how that ended up playing out?
Yeah, that was really, I think, towards the end of my time was starting to be a bigger theme. When I was a senior, there were several, like, outright kind of violent assault attempts that happened on campus that everyone was alerted about, and so it was a really freaky, couple of weeks when every woman on campus was being escorted around by men, and there was this kind of change in dialogue from first, like, protect yourself to second, like, don't rape people.
Yeah.
I don't have any, I'm sorry, my memories are so failing me.
It's okay.
Particular memories around my part of the group, like doing a particular project on assault awareness or silencing. Oh, I do remember something that we did make a big deal about, though, which was Jack Oley, the president at that time. And in my last year there, I was getting pretty politically active in trying to oust him. So we were talking a lot to professors, getting their perspective on how they were being silenced. And that's what made me think of it, is the silencing in general of dissent. And then some of us kept that up as alumni with letter writing campaigns and stuff like that. I was really involved in that project ongoing after I left campus.
So what happened with, like, Jack Oley? Like, I don't know, I wasn't here, I don't know much about it, just like...
Oh, man, he's a jackass, among other things. So he had a very different leadership style than previous presidents had. His outward style was very friendly and shake everybody's hands and, like, really make people feel like he was listening to them. But the thing was that he made people feel like he was listening to them, but then pretty much made decisions for the college autocratically. And made a lot of changes that affected faculty really significantly without taking into consideration any faculty input.
Yeah.
My dog has just come into the room. Hello, Murphy.
Aww.
Murphy, this is Sydney. And so the faculty were really upset, and there was a pretty big exodus, actually, of really wonderful faculty and staff, and deans and people who had been used to working in a really collaborative way, and making decisions together as a leadership community around Gustavus, and found suddenly that, there was kind of a dictator in town, and he wasn't interested in listening to anybody else's things, and was, like, cutting insurance for faculty members and cutting faculty budgets, while at the same time planning, new landscaping projects.
Oh, yeah.
At college. It's like, okay, priorities here, man, like...
Yeah.
And the 5 pillars felt really compromised, because he was really pro-excellence, but, like, community, like, not so much going on.
Yeah.
Listen to. Ask some faculty what they thought about Jack Oley, the ones who stuck around, and there's some really strong opinions. So there were several of us who got kind of involved in, a day when the whole board of trustees was on campus and doing some kind of active protesting around that, and asking them to take things into consideration. And now finally he's gone. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. It was a whole thing that I and We Are got involved in for a time there. Anyways, I don't know how involved they got to be after I wasn't there anymore.
Okay, so were you on campus when Obamacare was implemented at all?
I don't think so. I think that was after I graduated. What year was that going down?
I have it from 2006 to 2010, like in that range. Oh. But I don't know.
So then, but I don't remember that being an issue that we talked about.
Okay.
I think that it seemed like it didn't affect me then because, like, I've got insurance from my parents.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even worried.
What are your thoughts on Obamacare then?
Oh, I'm so grateful for it because now I'm not on my parents' insurance anymore. I'm a grown-up. Only reason that I'm insured and able to get... Oh, for example, there's a medication I'm taking right now that would cost me $3,000 a month.
Oh, my gosh.
Insurance. The only reason I have this insurance is because of subsidies from Obamacare, and the insurance makes it cost me $10 a month.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, it blows my mind how grateful I am that I can be insured right now.
Yeah. No, that's great.
As, like, a student not making any money, so...
What about for the BP oil spill? Were you on campus then?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that mostly happened over the course of the summer.
Yeah. Do you remember if there's anything being done, like, on campus to, like, support it, or...
I don't remember anything.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay. What about, you were talking about, like, the body image things that you worked with a lot? So was there any, like, backlash to that, or were people, like, mostly supportive of it?
There was. Oh my goodness. Hang on, I'm going to close the door. The dog opened the door, and now the radio is blaring from the other room. Okay, so one thing that went down, it would have been the fall of 2010. E Pluribus was recorded. There's a fellow named Phil Cleary who was on.
Yep, we've seen this video.
Yep, and I mean, there were lots of problems between I and We Are and Phil Cleary.
Yeah.
But he came in and unauthorizedly recorded it and then put it out in the world, having highlighted the parts that made it seem like Gustavus was, like, advocating, like, having sex with anyone you want to, and, like, advocating a homosexual lifestyle and everybody should be gay, things that, certainly are a part of the message we were trying to get across of, like, feeling comfortable in your skin and all of that, but he really cherry-picked from it, and put it out in some public forums, and it suddenly got, like, all these views, and there were, like, all this hate mail coming in for I Am We Are, and for, like, gay faculty. One of my advisors at that time was gay and was getting hate mail directed specifically towards her because of what he had done. And at that point in time, the administration tried to silence I Am We Are. Jack Oley. Basically tried to get us to approve, to have the administration preview anything that we were going to perform. And that was pretty bad. Yeah. Woof. We wrote a bunch of letters and tried to kind of resist that, and they ended up not really censoring anything that was important, and so I think it kind of blew over.
Yeah. Going back to, like, the sexual assaults question, were you on campus when Caitlin McCarthy did her piece on sexual assaults?
Yes. I remember Caitlin. I remember that she did some work on sexual assault. I remember it was really powerful. And I remember kind of workshopping through some of those pieces.
Yeah. So the campus actually started, like, censoring, like, sexual assault pieces that I Am We Are did because of that. Do you remember, like, anything else, like, specific about, like, her performance or how the campus censored it or how, like, the students reacted?
Gosh, I wish that I did. I remember that the piece was really beautiful and honest, that her story was really honest. I remember there being a lot of tears in our meetings and our rehearsals as we were working on that show, and all the parts around it. And that it wasn't just her, but that a lot of people were taking kind of risks with their own personal stories and putting them out in public ways. And that was one of the most beautiful things about I Am We Are to me.
Yeah.
Was people choosing to be personally vulnerable about big stuff and about little stuff. And to share their really personal and sometimes really hurt, broken kind of stories. So I remember that, I think, more on an emotional level than I really remember what the politics were around it. Though it doesn't surprise me that there was censorship. No, Caitlin's beautiful. She's a beautiful person.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful the way that she shared her stories.
Yeah. I'm talking to her soon, hopefully, too, I think, so.
Good. Yeah. And get the stuff straight from her.
Yeah.
I mean, it was I mean, her and several other people did sort of powerful personal storytelling, but I know that she was one of the ones who was most vulnerable and took it personally. A lot of times, the way that we did shows, and probably the way that we still do, scripts would be written and it wouldn't necessarily be the person whose own story it was performing piece. But if I remember right, and I might be wrong, I think that Caitlin kind of took claim of that one and said, this is mine, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that was part of what made it so impactful. And probably part of what made it so threatening.
Yeah.
To the folks out there. A woman standing up and saying, I've been hurt and that hurts, but I'm strong enough to talk about it.
Yeah. So those are all the questions that I have for you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, or?
It was a beautiful thing to be involved in. It was really, really good. And I wish that I had more specific memories or anything like that, but I was involved in a lot of things, and I Am Where was one of the places where I felt really at home, but there were a lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
And now it all seems like a happy blur. Not that distant past.
Yeah.
Someday for you too. Okay. Would you just tell me for my own good, like, what's going on with I Am We Are these days, other than, like, big, street party plans?
So I'm actually just involved with the class. I'm not involved with, like, the group, but, I'm a freshman this year, and E-Pluribus in the fall, they did some, like, really powerful pieces with, like, race, like, homosexuality, and they did a body image one, too, which it was really cool. It was, like, a really cool thing to see.
Yeah. Are they still doing the words of hate thing in E-Pluribus?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but hallelujah, that better not ever be shut up.
Yeah, that was like the finale, so it was really big.
Good. That was one of the things that the administration wanted to shut down.
Words of hate?
Yeah, and we were like, you guys, this is like the most important part of what we do.
Yeah.
Having a powerful emotional impact on the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really powerful one. They had a really cool one this year, actually. Like, it was before, or like, I think it was like halfway through the show or something, where there was no words. It was just like a dance piece, and it was about a woman and her boyfriend's like abusive relationship and how she kept like coming back to him and like then trying to get away and then coming back, and it was really cool to see that too, because there was like no words, but like everyone knew what was happening.
Wow. Yeah. Good. I'm glad that they're still at it.
Yeah.
I so wish that I could be there. I have like a work thing that happens that weekend every year that I like can't get out of.
Yeah.
But you all have my support and love, and thank you for doing the work to chronicle what happened.
Yeah, for sure. It's been so much fun. It's been really nice to meet people.
Absolutely. Good. Well, good to meet you.
You too.
And, say hi to the hill for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.